Welcome everyone. Hello and welcome to the Canadian Immigrant web conference series in partnership with ACCES Employment. My name is Murali Murthy. I'm the career writer at Canadian Immigrant. I'm an author and a public speaker. I've worked with Canadian Immigrant for many years, providing career and personal development articles for the magazine and, of course, in the online version too. Today, we are thrilled to have everyone join us for this industry specific web conference for internationally educated nursing and media professionals, medical professionals. Please note this will be a recorded session. So please note this will be recorded and posted on our website to watch for those who cannot attend in person. So this three-part web conference today, starting now, will feature speakers from CARE, the Center for Internationally Educated Nurses, the University of Toronto, and ACCES Employment. Before we start our session, like always, with our first speaker, we have a short video to share with you from one of our sponsors, Western Union. Western Union supports Canadian Immigrant and allows us to run these free events and webinars for newcomers across the country. So let's go over and watch the Western Union video.
Hi, Jasmine. It's your brother here. I'm sending a little money home to help that dream of yours become a reality.
When you send money, you send more than money. Western Union.
That was awesome. Thank you, Laura. Now let's get started with our first speakers from CARE, Center for Internationally Educated Nurses. We are thrilled to have with us today two very esteemed professionals, Ruth Lee and Megan Vanker. Ruth is the Executive Director at CARE, and Megan is the Program Coordinator at CARE. And both of them are joining us today to speak on the career pathway with CARE. If you have any questions for Ruth or Megan, please feel free to type them in the chat box or in the Q&A box. Thank you everyone again for joining us. And Ruth and Megan, over to you. Take it away.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I'm Ruth Lee, and the CARE Center for Internationally Educated Nurses. Indeed grateful and honored to be part of this very important conference. So I'm actually a very old nurse. I've been in nursing for over 3 decades and been doing different roles within nursing. So as mentioned earlier, if there's anything that we can help you, feel free to get in touch. And I'm sure that between myself, Megan, and our team would be very happy to assist you with any questions. And the email address will be provided at the end of our presentation. So we will provide very quick and brief overview of the process and share with you some of the challenges and opportunities that you will have coming to Canada and to be a nurse in Canada, as well as the support that we can lend you. Okay, so the world needs nurses. We are not alone in this. Canada is not alone. So today's topic, we're going to let you to get into what is out there, opportunity-wise for all of you, what the situation with nursing, and the opportunities that all of you will have, and also, as I said, how CARE Center for International Educated Nurses can help you, both in Ontario, which we have a program that is provincial-wide in Ontario, And we're also going to talk about the pre-arrival support and services, that how we can actually get you started before you even set foot in Canada. And that's the Pan-Canadian program, which Megan will elaborate a whole lot more. And we will share with you the eligibility criteria, that like who is eligible to take advantage of these two programs. And then also we're going to share with you some strategics, very practical strategies to be able to allow you to integrate into the Canadian healthcare system and be successful and beyond. Okay, so as I mentioned, Canada really needs you, and we need you to be nurses. We don't need you to do other things. So as an old nurse, as a very selfish person who's going to needing nursing care soon, as an aging person, I will say that we need every one of you to be nurses, okay? And we're here to help you make that happen. Why international educated nurses is so important? Because Canada is increasingly diverse. So 1 in 5, more than 1 in 5 are foreign born. So that means they are immigrants. And also that will be close to 30% in less than 10 years. We are also short, just before the pandemic, believe it or not, before the pandemic, more than 2 years ago, the Canadian Nurses Association already predicting a shortage of nurses between 60 to 70,000 nurses. And today, no one dare to give you a number, because it's really, really increasing, both because of the aging population, and secondly, the regulation has changed. Previously, the government and the healthcare system do not dictate how many nurses to a patient, and increasingly they're doing so. And of course, the number is rising, not decreasing. So we have a huge demand of nurses, which is not unusual because of world needing nurses, right? So they are absolutely precious resources that we need to really protect and help, because we are here. It will be unethical to waste the world's precious resources. So the number actually show you that Canada has changed quite a lot in terms of making life easier for internationally educated nurses. So when you look at the last statistics from take Ontario as an example, never before in the country's history that we have that many more international educated nurses become registered in the past year. We have an increase of 46%. So if you want to have more detail, get on the website. It's right there. And if you get on our website, we'll direct you there as well. So again, just like we enforce, we need nurses. And we are making system much easier than ever before to make it happen. So we, again, need to leverage your international experience, your expertise, and also your language and cultural ability to fulfill the labor shortage because of the aging population, because of the high demand of the healthcare system because of the pandemic. So we have also done a study on the investment that the government have for internationally educated nurse integration, and we have very good results. It's so that each dollar that the government invests in our breaching program for anybody become a LPM or RPN is 3 times. And for a registered nurse is 9 times. Like what kind of investment return can you get better than that? So the government have been very, very supportive to nurses. So after saying all these opportunities and all that, particularly in these past couple of years, there are no shortage of challenges. I'd be lying if I tell you that it will be smooth sailing. It's not smooth sailing because depending on where you get your initial nursing education and which country that you come from, and also what language of care that you provide, it makes a difference. Because most nurses that we have, very fortunately, we know that nurses from the Philippines and India are the major source countries. And the program of those are mainly in English, which is a plus, but for many other countries, it may not be the case. And that will create some challenges because one of the requirements that all nurses need to meet the language level ability, and also even within nursing, the terminology can be quite different. So for those of you educated in the British system, you will find some of the lingos is a little different from your system than here. For example, Canada mainly use American textbooks. So many of the Filipino nurses will be using the same textbooks. So you may be more familiar with the terminology. Even simple things like abbreviations, it will be different. So those are the things that all of you need to pay attention to. And another thing is the recognition of your credentials. As I mentioned earlier, if your curriculum is similar to the Canadian curriculum, you may have an easier time. But for others, you may need to do make-up courses. And for many countries, mental health nursing is not part of your curriculum. And that may create more challenges than others that you may need to take more courses and so on. And also, nurses are not familiar what we call the objective structural clinical exam, which is very common in Canada. And so many university programs, college programs actually use simulated patients. It's like actors and actresses to interact and facilitate the nursing assessment process. But for many internationally educated nurses, this is very, very foreign. So that is something that you need to pay attention to and most likely get some support about. So the college asks you to complete one of those exams. And another challenge is limited. Even you want to take courses, there's limited offer times. And if you miss a semester, you may need to wait for another. So those are the challenges because, as you know, you have 3 years window. And for the other parts of the country, other than Ontario, you may have 5 years. And many of you say, oh, well, that's a long time, but actually it's not that long. We have 96% of nurses being female. Wow, I'm not going to blow my horn because I'm also a woman, that we always put our family first. So by the time you settle the family, come your turn to look at your own career, a year or two may lapse. And also the assessment process can be quite lengthy as well. So getting employment is another challenge. Some IENs have never gone through an interview, which is very, very common because you graduate from nursing school, you get your job, and that's it. You don't need to search for anything. But in Canada, it's different. Even we have a very high demand of nurses, you still have to go through the process. We have many employers reach out to Care Center for Internationally Educated Nurses and wanting our members to work for them. And this is our responsibility to make sure that you are equipped with these kind of abilities, because another thing is that you also don't have the network that if you are educated in Canada that may have, because you will have your schoolmates, you will have your teachers and your friends and so on. But when you are uprooted and come to this country, Care Center become your family. We are the one to introduce you to network. We will introduce you to people that you need to know to be successful, professional organizations and so on. So another thing is the differences and expectation in the professional nursing practice. Many nurses will be in charge of a unit before you know it, because the expectation is much higher, very independent practice. You have to lead a team. Many countries, this is not something that they will expect of their nurses. So you will see that many team members who are allied health professionals, physiotherapists, pharmacists, and so on, they will be part of the team, but in many cases, the nurse will be the one that lead that team, need to coordinate the team. So this is something that IEN need to pay attention to, and that leadership role also will be asked in your exam as well to get your registration. Another thing that we find IEN not used to is the strong role of families and the patient. The patient's rights, everything's patient and family-centered care. That's the focus, including how you document your care is patient-centered care. In many other countries, we'll be focusing on the profession. Like the nurses chart here, the doctors chart there, and people just do their own part of the care. But in Canada, everything is focusing on the patient. For many nurses, it's a bit of an adjustment for that. And there are also very unprecedented situations that happen, particularly during the COVID period, that many patients intentionally or intentionally have behavior that's not acceptable in this country, and we call it racism. So hopefully we'll equip you with that, and you need to be aware of that. And the cross-cultural awareness and communication strategies are absolutely critical for you to be successful in this country. Okay, so about Care Center, we've been around for 20 years now. We're heading into our 21st year of service, and we're funded by the Ontario government as well for the provincial support to nurses. And we also have a pre-arrival program, as I mentioned earlier, that is funded by the federal government. We call it PASS. And for the provincial service, we call it STARS, meaning that we're here to support, train, and help you access to regulated health, regulated employment services. And we have very close collaboration with many stakeholders, including employment. As I mentioned, we have many employers we work with. Last count over 40 that we will help get you there for that job. From the beginning, before you get your registration and beyond, and your promotion and beyond. We also work closely with our regulatory bodies across the country, particularly in Ontario, and also professional organizations such as the Canadian Nurses Association, the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario, and also the Registered Practical Nurses of Ontario, and many others. So we also have a formal mentorship program, which Megan will elaborate, for the Pan-Canadian service through the Canadian Nurses Association. And also last count, we have 20 formal members with employers and professional organizations to provide that mentoring support to our members, IENs. So this is the model. To your right-hand side, you see that everything we do it for the IENs, because your success is our success. So for the past 2 years, we've been providing service online across the province. But before the pandemic, and actually coming soon, looking at the next few weeks, we are opening up our offices throughout the province in Ontario. So we have offices in Toronto, which include Scarborough, a satellite office, while main office is in downtown Toronto. We also have 2 offices in Peel Region, which is Greater Toronto, Mississauga and Peel. We also have offices in Hamilton, which cover the Niagara region, and London and Windsor, and Kingston as well. So we're pretty well covered in Ontario. We provide one-on-one individual support to all of you, because every one of you are different. You come from different countries. You have different educational and clinical backgrounds. So you will be assigned one case manager, that this is the one person you go to, and that one person will open many doors and build many bridges for you. We have many professional development courses, particularly focusing on exam preparation so that you get your registration, and also clinical skills that you may not have in your home country and you need in Canada. We'll provide those. And as I mentioned earlier, we also provide you with employment workshop integration and networking support, including we having hiring managers from our employer partners to actually do that mock interview with you. So the questions will be exactly what you'll be hearing, and the expectation will be the same. The only thing is that they will actually honestly tell you what is something that you should be doing and not doing. Right. So for example, many nurses from different cultures, particularly traditional cultures, they are very humble. They don't look people in the eye. They put their head down. And that is something, a no-no in Canada. People will think that you're not confident in yourself, that you're disrespectful because you don't look people in the eye. While many cultures, when you look people in the eye, is disrespectful. So those kind of things we will tell you. We'll tell you in your face. We'll tell you how to do it. So we often said that if there's anyone can be honest with you, it's us. It's Care Center case managers and team member, that we are here to support you and ensure that you're successful. We also have observational job sharing programs and virtual mentoring program. So for the past 2 years, we basically have virtual mentoring. What that means is that you'll be matched with a nurse who's actually working right now to support you. through just like what we're doing now through Zoom. And as of next month, we are opening up our optional job sharing program. That means that you will be able to be in the clinical area, work side by side with an expert nurse that who can tell you how's it like to be a nurse in this country. So we have those partners in hospitals, long-term care facilities, community and professional organizations that they can help you to get to know how is it like to be a nurse in Canada. Okay, we also have very extensive language programs because language is the key. Without that ability, it's very hard for you to move forward in your career. So we have free language assessment, exam prep, and also nursing specific language programs to make sure that you're successful. So the eligibility, basically you need to be a permanent resident, a Canadian citizen or convention refugees, and also you need to have the application to the National Nursing Assessment Service and the College of Nurses Ontario. Okay, I think Megan's going to let you know about our PASS program.
Thank you so much, everybody. And it's a pleasure to be here with Canadian Immigrant. So ACCES Care Center's pre-arrival program, Pan-Canadian, serves nurses going to any province or territory in Canada. And every support and service offered in PASS is designed to shorten the time that internationally educated nurses spend from arrival in Canada onto professional registration and employment. And as folks know who are going through or planning on starting the assessment process, it can take a very significant amount of time. So participants are encouraged to start as far in advance before arrival to Canada as possible. We've had participants join anywhere from days to weeks in advance to people who've been in our pre-arrival program for years as they're waiting for their immigration documents to come to Canada. We are Pan-Canadian, as I mentioned. We have a wonderful partnership, including Cameron, who's listening in today, with 15 other pre-arrival programs. So it's a wonderful support offered to people before they get here. And we're the only pre-arrival program honed in and specializing in only one occupation, and that is nursing. That is all that Care Center does, is with nurses. So people in PASS have access to unlimited individual case management and guidance. Ruth showed a bit earlier the case management tool that Care Center utilizes, and that is the same in PASS. So however many sessions people have time for, and when they need to discuss their personal circumstances and their assessment pathways, their goals in Canada, we hold meetings over Zoom as we are now, GoToMeeting, Skype. We have in fact, now quite a bit over 110 hours of programming. We do the same live 11 webinar topics every month and also have access to pre-recorded webinars, including 2 excellent webinars on Indigenous health. We have new webinars in the process that are being finalized now in long-term care and emergency nursing. But our PASS roster of webinars ranges from, of course, the credentialing assessment process, the first and foremost important webinar, nursing in Canada, nursing labor market demographics, professional writing skills for nurses, and so forth. We have great guest webinar topics as well that we facilitate monthly on diverse nursing sectors and supports available for IENs and permanent residents in Canada. We offer 2 online English language nursing specific communication courses. The first one is the same Nursing Communications Foundations course that Ruth referenced that is offered in STARS. And we have a separate, more advanced course that we also offer in our program for nurses who've completed the first one. Both take around 46-50 hours to complete on participants' own paces, which is great. And topics cover verbal and nonverbal and cross-cultural communication, nursing vocabulary and abbreviations, interprofessional practice, health assessment and teaching, documentation and reporting, conflict resolution, nurse-client interviews, and so on. So very much geared towards workforce integration. And we also offer mentorship connections to nurses across the country through the Canadian Nurses Association. And these can be done on a individual basis if people have the time and inclination. But we're also very fortunate to have, on a rotating basis, CNA nurse mentors from different provinces sit in on our webinars as well as active participants and to answer questions, just to ensure wide-ranging access. So like STARS, PASS has eligibility criteria, the same as the other 15 pre-arrival programs. We do require proof of graduation from a recognized nursing program. Now, if a person is a new grad and doesn't have work experience, or maybe it's an individual who hasn't worked in many years and safe practice has expired, that's totally fine. Most nurses who join PASS are planning on going through the credentialing assessment process to get their regulated nursing licensure, but we can also help find non-licensed jobs in alternative careers as well for people who do want to pursue different pathways. But the most important thing is they do actually, they have a nursing certificate to show that they were at least a nurse at one time. And of course, the immigration requirement is also mandatory, and that is approval for migration to Canada on a permanent resident status. So I'm seeing Murali's camera come on. We probably only have a couple minutes left, don't we? I will rush through this so we can leave some time for questions. So we have strategies to help IENs launch their career pre and post arrival, mentorship, case management that we talked about. We have strong pre and post arrival partnerships for referrals to make sure people are set once they get to Canada to continue receiving support. And just quickly, keys to success, just encouraging people to pursue opportunities that align with their passion and interest. There is such a diversity of regulated nursing roles. People can think beyond the traditional hospital, clinical or bedside settings. Just a plug again for patient-centered care. Remembering nursing is caring. The caregiver defines what that means. Embracing technological innovation and new ideas, getting out of your comfort zone. Employers really want nurses who are flexible and adaptable to different situations, especially these days. And, you know, just taking each situation as a chance to learn. In every crisis, there's an opportunity. The pandemic is the best example of this. There's unprecedented numbers of nursing positions available. So lots more to say about that, but we will stop and take questions. And I do encourage people to reach out to Ruth or I if you have any questions, and you can reach either of us at the email on this slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you, Megan. Megan, I did not get on my video to remind you. I was just preparing myself.
Well, it was a good reminder.
Yeah, I was getting ready myself. But having said that, a lot of information from Ruth and Megan. I hope everyone captured all the nuggets. We have questions coming up. And before I share my nuggets, I want to get right into the questions. So thank you, Megan and Ruth, once again. A lot of information, a lot of nuggets. Here is one question that we have received, which is, I've heard from some nurses in my network that small towns are more in need and often can be easier to find employment. That's a good question. This whole thing about big towns and big cities and small towns, if you can please address that, Ruth and Megan.
So I'll take that one, Megan. I would say that it doesn't matter where you go now. We need nurses. Small town, the advantage of small town, I would say that particularly for folks who have families, the housing price is so much less than coming to Toronto, for example, right, or Vancouver. So I would say that it will, because majority of the nursing job are unionized, so the pay is very similar. But if your house is half price or even 75% less than what you'll be paying in a major city, you have a whole lot more money to spend, right? To invest in your children and purchase a home and build your mortgage and things like that. So I would say that just make sure that you get into nursing. There's no reason why that you cannot get a nursing job or related to nursing job with your nursing skills.
Excellent. Thank you, Ruth. That's so valuable. It works for every industry, but especially for IENs. So here is a question that also came up, which is, are the requirements to work in senior homes the same as it is for hospitals?
So I would say that as a nurse, you need to have your registration. So obviously, if you have the background in certain areas, then it will be to your advantage. One of the big opportunities I can say that IEN are not taking advantage of, a lot to do with many IENs from traditional cultures. Many of the elderly are being cared for at home. So this is not something that is familiar to nursing. But in Canada, or I dare say North America, many developed countries, is a very different situation. So for IENs, when you work in long-term care, there's many leadership roles that will be open to you. But when you get into a hospital setting, the competition is a bit, tough there to acquire some of those roles into leadership. So for example, many IENs are head nurses. So in Canada, we call them nurse managers or directors and so on, all those leadership roles. It's a bit difficult in terms of the competition to get those roles in hospital setting, but in long-term care, there's so many opportunities that can get you to become a leader. And once you have that leadership experience, then the sky's the limit. Then you can move around. But the key is that you need to get started to acquire that experience. And right now, particularly with the pandemic, the opportunity is so much more now in long-term care. And I will encourage IENs, do not look at long-term care as something that you're not interested or whatever. It gives you time to learn the culture of healthcare in Canada, learn the way of communication in a slower pace setting. You require different skills, but for IENs, probably it's not a bad place to start. So don't let anyone tell you, oh, don't go to long-term care. You end up doing just the job that do not need your skills, but you can acquire other skills. Many leadership skills can be developed there. And many long-term care settings also have very high-tech equipment, believe it or not. Many clients are in dialysis, actually, with very sophisticated equipment, if you're interested in equipment and technology. So as I said, opportunities are abundant right now, both in acute and long-term care, and community care. There's another one, home care. Right. So my suggestion, as Megan earlier said about the strategies, is don't deny yourself. Be innovative. You are brave. Like all of you are very brave to come to this new home, Canada, like me included, right? I'm obviously, from the way I talk with an accent, you know, I'm immigrant myself. My message to you is don't limit yourself. Give yourself a chance. Try it out. There's always ways, you know, you don't like it, you can do something else. But abundant opportunity out there waiting for all of you in nursing. So don't do anything else, but try to get that registration and contribute to your passion of nursing that you have chosen to be your career. And I've been a nurse for a long time. As I said, I never regret a day that I become a nurse. And there's so many things that you can do as a nurse.
Thank you, Ruth. That was pretty elaborate. Megan had typed in the answer, and I think Canadian Immigrant had also posted, and there have been a couple of other questions. Both Ruth and Megan encourage everyone to explore the website of the Canadian Association for Remote and Rural Nurses, CARRN, which is a specialty subgroup of the Canadian Nurses Association. So we would recommend everyone, many of your questions could be answered on the website itself, in addition to the CARE website, which is carefornurses.org. But definitely look at the chat box and go on to the website of CARRN. There's one more question, Ruth and Megan. To apply, do we need a PR status? How about an international student with a Bachelor of Nursing in their home country? How does that apply?
Do you want me to take that one, Ruth?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is really strict criteria for the pre and post arrival programs about permanent resident status, and there are not a wide array of supports, if any, available for folks coming on work and student visas. I did a webinar this morning, actually, that folks listening in might be interested in if they're not yet in the immigration pipeline. But the Health Authority of Nova Scotia has a new initiative to fill positions in long-term care facilities in that province. And anybody interested in that, email me as well, and I will forward your information and connect you with the recruiters. But that's a potential pathway to internationally educated nurses to Canada who are not yet in the immigration pipeline. And if folks are matched with employers, the province of Nova Scotia will actually help facilitate work visas, at the same time help people apply for PR. But other than that, I do encourage people to reach out to me at any time, and I'll help where I can. But permanent resident status is a requirement to formally join PASS.
Thank you, Megan. I hope it answered a lot of questions. Like Megan has gracefully given her her email address, mvankel@carefornurses.org, the website carefornurses.org, the other website passfornurses.org. And I hope you picked up the nuggets like I did. Thank you, Ruth. You spoke about mentorship. That's so valuable. You spoke about mock interviews, employment referrals, and so many. So there's a lot more that CARE can offer you. Just get in touch with Ruth and Megan. You got the website there, you got the email address there, and your questions will be answered. So thank you once again, Ruth and Megan, for a very valuable session. Thank you.
Thank you
for having us.
And now, friends, it's just begun. Next up, we have to join us on the Canadian Immigrant web conference series for internationally trained banking and finance professionals. As always, in partnership with ACCESS Employment, we have Dr. Cindy Sinclair and Salma Siddiqui. Dr. Sinclair is an adjunct lecturer and former postgraduate assistant in family and community medicine at the University of Toronto. And Salma is an international medical graduate and family physician, safety reviewer at Everest Clinical Research. Dr. Sinclair and Salma will be speaking to us on a very important topic, the immigrant journey to success. And of course, the importance of mentoring. Can't tell you how important mentorship is in your journey to success. So we are thrilled to have you both. Please take it away, Dr. Sinclair and Salma, over to you. And as always, viewers can post their questions, but right now, let's hear from Dr. Sinclair and Salma.
Okay, thank you very much, Murali. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right, super. So thank you. And it's a real pleasure for Salma and I to join Canadian Immigrant. This is the first time we're doing this, so we're really excited about this opportunity. And I wish to welcome everyone who are participating today, near and far. I really think the presentation by Ruth and Megan just now were excellent presentation, and the resources are great, and I encourage everyone to take advantage of the resources. As Muriel said, I am Dr. Sinclair. I'm from the University of Toronto, and I am also with the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. So I'll be using OISE from now on, and I'll use IMD for immigrant medical doctors. And as Muriel said as well, I work in the postgraduate office and the Faculty of Medicine. During the years I worked in these both offices in the family medicine and obstetrics and gynecology, I've seen so many hundreds of immigrant doctors that came into the program, into the system, and looking for help. They're looking for jobs, they're looking for relicensure. So this topic is very familiar with me. We decided that for our presentation today, we want to talk about immigrants' journeying towards success, the importance of mentoring. And I thought it was so befitting to bring one of my mentees, Salma Siddiqui, to co-present this presentation with me, because I think if you hear the experience, that will make it a little bit different. Or if you can see it as well, that will make it a little bit clearer for you what mentor and mentee means. So I'm one of the, Salma is also a medical student at OISE, and I'm on her thesis, one of her thesis advisors, as well as I'm her mentor at OISE. So I met Salma at ACCESS Employment with the REMAX team led by Mihai Sasaki, and Pauline is also one of the co-presenters of the Alternative Career Path course. And I have to say kudos to ACCESS Employment and to REMAX, because we have seen so many IEHPs, immigrant professionals, succeed in their job search and in their professional career. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this group here. And that's where I met Salma as well. Salma was sitting in the class and she heard the presentation. She sent me a message and said, "Can I speak with you?" So you never know where you're going and who you'll meet. So always be prepared. So the topic journeying towards success for me, it really, there's no end to it. It's what you put into it, you'll get out of it. It's if you want it to stop, it will stop. But your life continues on a journey every day. Every accomplishment is a success. And I feel with my experience working with immigrant doctors and working at the university and with mentor and mentees, I just feel that every newcomer could benefit significantly from a mentorship program or a mentor of some sort. And I was pleased to hear that it's been offered through CARES as well, through Ruth and Megan as well. So that's really exciting. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about our own experiences as immigrants who arrived in this country and our journey towards success, because our life hasn't stopped. It just is going to continue journeying. And I will tell my story briefly, and then Salma will tell her. So I will be the mentor, Salma will be the mentee. And then we'll just talk a little bit about the importance of mentoring. And I will provide you with some information that you can, resources that you can continue to learn more about it. And then there'll be some time for question and answers. So I'm going to start my journey. So my journey started with my visa. I think most immigrants get a visa to come to Canada. Their visa is their passport to Canada. Once you're here, the opportunities are unlimited. They're just pouring, but it depends on your own, how much you take advantage of the opportunities. I arrived as an international student many years ago. After graduation, I experienced the same challenges as most newcomers with no experience to find a job. I finally found my first job at the University of Toronto in the School of Business as a clerk typist. And that was the lowest level job, but it got me into a huge institution that allows me now to start advancing in that institution, which is the University of Toronto. I decided years after that I needed to advance myself. I moved to the Faculty of Medicine, and that's where I started working with postgrad and the Dean's office. But I figured if I need to advance, I need to get more education. So I decided with 3 children, I was going to do my BA. I finished my BA. I finished my master's, and then I decided to do my PhD. And again, my PhD still focused on immigrant doctors because that's my passion. I need to see these immigrant doctors advance and survive and contribute to our society and our community. So I collaborated with my advisors, Dr. Rashida Hack at St. Michael's Hospital, and my advisor at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. And we co-founded what we call the Immigrant Medical Doctors Forum. Bringing in different leaders from different organizations to the university. And that's where I met ACCESS Employment as well. And I'm delighted to say thank you to Mr. Moser and the team at ACCESS that I am now part of the team that designed the ACCESS Employment, the Alternative Career Path course. So during this course, again, we usually look to see who are the people in the classroom and give them a chance to speak about themselves. And it just brings so much joy to me when I hear someone is passionate about something or passionate about advancing in their education career. So I have always been one for higher education, and I never stop learning. I never give up. After my PhD, I decided to continue looking for possibilities for doctors. And I have to say that I have mentored several students from the ACCESS Employment Program. And I would like to share some successes that we've had over the last few years. The first person that came to me was an immigrant doctor who was doing her PhD. And she had just came to Canada and she didn't know what she wanted to do. she said, can we talk? And I said, sure. And we started talking about different possibilities and what you could do. And have you thought about this? And have you thought about that? As a mentor, my hat as a mentor, that's what I do with anyone that come and talk to me. And so this person eventually, we were able to get her an appointment at Sunnybrook as a postdoctoral fellow, and she is happy. We did mock interviews. We helped her prepare for the program, and she's very happy. Another person that came to the ACCESS Employment course was in the classroom and talking about her personal experience and what she wants to do. And I just sent her a message and says, can we talk? Because I knew right away that there is someone I know who could help her. And so we started talking, and I connected her with CAMH, which is the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. And today she is now a clinical fellow, or she has a clinical fellowship appointment, and she's going into residency. So there are lots of opportunities. If you find the right mentor, a person who can guide you along, you can really be successful. It takes time, but it will happen. So similar to on that list, you see there are lots of others who are all very successful, having professional careers, or going back to school because they have long-term goals. They're looking for a long-term project where they can become somebody really special and special and take leadership role. So again, as I said, with my experience working at the university and working with institution, what I do with my mentees as well is I bring them with me to events, to conferences, to alumni. I'm part of the Alumni Association, the past president, and currently I'm the chair of the election committee. On this slide, you see there is a picture of me when I was the president, but we sent a message out to all the alumni saying, could you consider running for an elected position on the board? And I encouraged my mentees to do that as well. And they said to me, oh no, I can't do that. I don't have the experience. I've never sat on a board. I don't know what to do. And I said, we are going to do it. So the picture of the 6 people there, 5 of them are all my mentees or colleagues that I encouraged to submit their candidacy for a board position. And the picture on the far, which will be your left, but Salma and I, that's the picture of our success between Salma and myself that's really been appreciated by the university and by OIC. And so they wrote a story about us. And Salma has a lot to tell about her experience as a mentee. So I am now going to pass the mic on to Salma to continue from here on. Salma, please take it over.
Thank you, Cindy. Am I clearly audible?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming. Hi, everyone. I'm Salma, and I would like to share my short story as an immigrant here, of course, and how I feel that mentoring helped me. And it's a journey, as everyone has stressed so far. And, so it's, of course, started with Cindy. And I would also like to stress that how it's a continuous process, and it continues even now at my workplace, Everest, as well. So for my journey, I immigrated here in February 2020, 2 years back. I was a practicing physician back home for around 10 years with well, I was very confident. I was confident of securing a decent job within a couple of months of landing. I started applying for jobs immediately after I came here, and I had no idea about the tailored resume or tailored cover letter that was required. So if you just heard Ruth's presentation, and where Ruth mentioned that most of the immigrants have not been exposed to this. So when Ruth was saying that, and retrospectively, if I go to think of it, I don't know if I've had to write a lot of resumes, cover letter, had to attend a lot of interviews. So, well, I had just one resume drafted, and I went ahead and started applying for positions. And yes, I wasn't able to get any job interviews with that. Then basically what happens is it's not about your education here. It's actually adapting to the whole new Canadian culture. And I feel this is where the mentor and the guide helps you understand and adapt. So I would like to tell what all I gained as a mentee from the mentorship program that I have. Eventually, I got to know about ACCESS Employment and their program for settlement for internationally educated healthcare professionals. I met Dr. Cindy Sinclair there as one of the instructors, and I immediately sent out a message showing my interest both in academic and clinical research. She did accept to have a chat with me. And like any other new immigrant, I just said it to her that, you know what, I need a job. I am looking for a job. And well, as a mentor, she said, let's have a chat and we'll discuss your career goals ahead. So when I got to speak to her, you know, with the long-term career goals that I laid out in front of her, she suggested a lot of courses that were available at University of Toronto. And eventually I started with my Masters of Education in Education and Professions in fall 2020. And that was just within 6 months of landing in Canada. Having Cindy as a role model, as a mentor, as a senior role model helped me a lot, because she has like nearly 20 years of work experience with working with the immigrant medical doctors. So I feel she could understand me very well, what my long-term career goals were, what my concerns were, what my aspirations were, and hence she could guide and mentor me accordingly. I was definitely exposed to the university culture, and I took part in various workshops and meetings at the university. This definitely boosted my confidence and also created a lot of career options and opportunities. I would say a mentor builds us further. I improved both on my networking skills as well as on my networking circle with all this exposure. And now when I sit back and when I self-reflect in the past 2 years, I think I have reached a position with, you know, a good position here in Canada. I have a master's degree from the University of Toronto. I'm employed as a medical reviewer in Everest Clinical Research Corporation. So now the question is, what next? Should I just sit back and relax because I have achieved what I wanted to? Well, that's not the case. As Cindy says, and as my mentor, my manager at Everest says, you should learn in a way so extensive so as to be able to mentor others. He provides constructive feedback to enable my professional development and takes time to build and sharpen my skills further. And that is what I'm focusing on now, as this is a continuing journey. I am a peer mentor to few immigrant doctors who have approached me through Cindy and also through the Halton region. I would like to show our work together. I've been part of like various projects with Cindy over the last 2 years. I attended meetings and workshops at University of Toronto and eventually gained experience to become a facilitator myself. I was a facilitator at OIC Mentorship Professional Development Meeting, wherein we were talking about rethinking job search strategies held in May 2021. We had around 125 RSVPs for this workshop. We have presented many papers this year in various conferences in Teaching for Transformation at University of Toronto. I even got a chance to present my own research, De-Skilling, Investigating the Struggles of Professional Immigrant Women Medical Graduates in Canada, in the session of Immigrants' Challenges in Labor Market last month at Canadian Sociological Association. There's another piece of very critical work that I would like to mention here. So our upcoming work is, we're writing a chapter on voices of immigrant women doctors of color, their stories of leadership and resilience, in the book titled Closing the Great Divide, EDI, Leadership, and the Power of Storytelling. And the co-authors are Dr. Susan Wilson, she's the Managing Director of Scotiabank, and Dr. Mary Sauderly is the Dean, University of Fraser Valley, British Columbia. I know hearing me all this while, you might have a question, you have a mentor, where do we find a mentor? We did try to list out a few sources where you can find a mentor, but certainly this is not the complete list. And now I would like to pass the presentation back to Cindy to take us through the types of mentoring and also to take the presentation further. Thank you.
Thank you. Salma, are you going to share the slide?
Yeah, I am. Can you see
Wonderful.
it?
So thank you, Salma, again, and hi, everyone. So the importance of mentoring, it is so important because a mentor can help guide you from day one. And they can sit down with you, they can as Salma said, we can go back and forth. We can see what might be possible for you, and help you along your journey. There are different styles of mentoring. One of them is one-on-one, which I suggest. Sorry, no slides. Okay.
Hi, Salma. Sorry, we just can't see the slides.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Just a second.
Perfect. Great, that's
See it
fantastic.
now?
Thank you. Yeah.
Great, wonderful, thank you. Okay, right, so I was speaking about a different type of mentoring. So whether you are a recent graduate, someone who has been around for a long time, someone who feels that you know it all and you don't need a mentor, really a mentor can find a soft spot that you can talk about things that will really help you think differently. Mentoring can be really a powerful and transformative vehicle that can help you advance faster in your journey. So you might think you know everything, but a mentor could help you make that advancement much farther. Mentor can show you things you can't see by yourself. So the one-on-one mentoring, but that I suggest is best for you. In that way, when you sit down with your mentor, you can not only see that person face to face, whether it's virtually or not, but you're able to sort of feel comfortable. You're able to tell whether you can work with this person, because mentoring is really a two-way relationship. You have to have a collegial interest in something. You have to be able to feel yourself when you're talking to the individual, that they don't judge you. You have to be able to think that when you're going to meet this person, they will see you at your best. So you think about your first impression when you're going to meet your mentor. Another thing is the elevator pitch. If you're going to meet a mentor, they're usually volunteering their time and they're willing and happy to help you. But if you can come up with that elevator pitch that you can resonate with them right away, and an introduction, that really helps move you forward as well. So, and chemistry works as we have to think about the chemistry. If you can't get along with this person from day one, don't continue. You'll just waste your time. They'll waste their time. With the group mentoring, it's really, sometimes we suggest having group mentoring because others are in the group and they could learn from each other. And that works really well. But if you don't have the time, as most immigrants, when they arrive, they're busy trying to plan their schedule, their life, their family, their jobs. They're busy. Sometimes a one-on-one mentoring is good. The group might not be as feasible for you. You might get discouraged and you might think it's not a worthy idea, a worthy thing to do. And then the peer mentoring, again, is someone who have passed through your situation and you've got the experience, they have the experience, but each individual's experience are so different that you can sort of share with each other. And what I do with Salma and my other mentees is I try to encourage them that as I am guiding them, that they will start helping to guide others as well. Potential employers, there's a whole list. We're going to circulate this list of information so you can all have it handy. And if you have questions, Salma and I will be around we'll be happy to chat with you anytime. Some quick takeaways. Resident, yes, you are a resident of Canada. You are an immigrant, but you are equal. You are here, you are going to be a Canadian citizen, you have equal rights. So never think of yourself as your qualifications are not good or you can't speak the language. Just be bold, go with optimism, go with positiveness, go with self-awareness of who you are, and do your research, check what resources are available. And find a mentor. And as well, mentoring can be very professional, but at the same time, it has to be fun because we're all human beings and we need that social contact. And here's a picture of us from the last holiday where we gathered together, having a Christmas holiday celebration, just bringing together our group of mentees. Most of them are mentees on this list. Salma helped me organize that as well. And we are just having a great time. And you too as well, wherever you are, don't hesitate to think of a mentor. Thank you very much. And I'm pleased to be here.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sinclair, and thank you, Salma. I hope we all got a lot of information. The one thing I took away from this is the power of a story. Nothing like a testimonial. Salma, thank you so much for sharing your journey. We spoke about an immigrant journey to success. Yes, the slides were great. Yes, the presentation was great, but nothing tops it like a personal story. And I hope everyone got the essence of mentorship. We could go on and on, but Salma really spoke her heart. And thank you, Dr. Sinclair. So if there are any questions right now, we can have the questions for Salma and Dr. Sinclair. So questions, anyone? Yeah. So here is the first question that came up. Are there any ways I can find a mentor before coming to Canada? I'd like to get into the nursing field in Canada, but right now I'm still not in Canada, but in another country. So over to you. Dr. Sinclair, Salma, anyone?
Salma, would you like to take that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Cindy.
Okay.
I think the better options, I am not aware if you can get a mentor before coming, because when I know that to be enrolled in ACCESS Employment, and as Cameron will take up the presentation next from ACCESS Employment, we do need to be here. So I am not aware of if there are any areas or any ways that we can have a mentor before.
I believe the person asked the question is a nurse, so I would say that
Okay.
our pre-arrival program, Megan will be there and her team will be there to help you. So get in touch with Megan, please.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Salma, Cindy, Ruth, and Megan. Yeah, because one of the other questions is where can you find a mentor? And the answer was just given to you by Ruth. Get in touch with all four of them here and they can guide you. Here's one more question. When applying for jobs, does including your mentor as a reference on your resume, is that a good idea? Or is this something I should wait to be asked for?
Okay, so would you like me to take that?
Sure, go ahead, Cindy.
Right, thank you. So applying for a job, you don't need to include in your resume or in your cover letter that you have a mentor. It's not necessary. The employers are not looking for who has a mentor. A mentor can write you a reference letter, and because they know you after they've spent some time with you, they know you well enough that they can attest to your ability, your education, your personality, your enthusiasm. So no, you don't need to include in your resume that you have a mentor. And yes, that mentor can write a letter for you. I've done that for my mentees.
Thank you, Dr. Sinclair. I hope that answered your question. Like we said, you can always get in touch with the four of them. In fact, in the last slide, Salma and Dr. Sinclair did share their contact details. You can go ahead and get in touch with them for any other questions. My one takeaway from this session was, among all the points that Salma shared, one point was achieve career goals. So think about it. Isn't that the reason you actually left your country and came here, to achieve a career goal, to progress professionally? And that could be the one takeaway from mentorship. So we would recommend go all out for mentorship. And with that, thank you, Dr. Sinclair and Salma, for this session. It was very wonderful and very valuable. Thank you once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the grand finale. Our final speaker for the day at the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference Series for internationally trained nurses is none other than Cameron Moser from ACCESS Employment. Cameron is a Director of Services and Program Development at ACCESS Employment and will be speaking on a very important subject of career development with ACCESS Employment. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A box, the chat box, and keep sending your questions. But right now, let's all hear from Cameron. So over to you, Cameron. Take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that introduction greatly. And thank you to everyone who's joining us for this. As Marley mentioned, I'm a Director of Services and Program Development at ACCESS Employment. And one of the programs that I'm responsible for is Healthcare Connections. Healthcare Connections is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I immigrated to Canada from the United States, 15 years ago or so. And a big part of what I did in the United States as I was growing up was advocate for access to healthcare for everybody, that everybody should be able to get the care that they need as a human being to live a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life. And being able to support internationally educated healthcare professionals in their career goals in Canada is really a part of me helping and continuing to live that out, to make sure that you're able to put your skills to use and that everybody can get access to the kind of care that they need to live happy, healthy, and fulfilling lives. I'm going to share my presentation here with you now, and we're going to go through that. So in health ACCES Employment, for those of you who don't know as much about us, we work in partnership with organizations like Care for Nurses. We work closely with professionals like Dr. Sinclair, and with over 40,000 immigrants and Canadian citizens a year to help them meet their career goals. It is our vision to see a labor market in Canada that looks like the population, where everyone can apply their skills as fully as possible in the labor market. We work with a wide range of employers, with over 2,800 employers in our network, and we've been doing this really, really important work for over 35 years. Our Healthcare Connections program is a really interesting part of this mix of services we have. We have two streams within our Healthcare Connections program. We have one that is in health systems. This stream is focused on careers in health administration, in pharmaceuticals, and clinical research. It's funded by the federal government. It's free of charge for permanent residents and refugees. And it's been around now for over 5 years. 5 years of really, really successfully helping internationally educated health professionals meet their career goals. We also just recently launched a new stream within our Healthcare Connections program, and that's community health. This is funded by the province of Ontario. Right now it's free of charge for refugees, permanent residents in Canada, and Canadian citizens who were not born in Canada. And it is focused on public health, community health, and social services. So it's really a response to a critical need in all of those areas that was identified through COVID. So through these two streams of programming, we're able to support over 120 clients a year in meeting their healthcare goals, their career goals in the broader healthcare sector. And we're very proud of that work. It's a good-sized team. Here's me and my boss, Sue Sadler. We've got a great program manager who has a background in public health and public health research. We've got a really strong program coordinator who is an internationally trained medical doctor himself. And then we've got great staff who have experience in healthcare, with Carolina Ramos having been a nurse working with congenital issues in children, congenital heart issues. We've got Sadaf, who really focuses on resilience and brings a lot of great facilitation into our program. And then two amazing career development professionals in Willatam and Sandeep Sekon, who work with all of our IEHPs and getting them ready, helping them learn about themselves and helping them learn about the types of jobs that they can do to succeed in Canada. So this program is for health sector professionals who have either decided not to pursue licensure in Canada or are looking to work while they're pursuing licensure. Our work in Healthcare Connections is focused on non-licensed employment. Organizations like Care for Nurses do amazing work in supporting others and supporting internationally trained nurses in getting licensed. That's not our area of expertise at ACCES Employment. As you could guess from our name, our expertise is in employment. And so we focus on getting jobs. And we work in partnership with organizations like CARE, so that if there was someone who was looking to get a job while they were pursuing their licensure, we would work in partnership with them on that client. Now, in our Healthcare Connections program, we focus on meeting you where you are at. We know that there's a huge range of skills and experiences with internationally educated healthcare professionals, ranging from things as diverse as we have a client right now whose expertise is in disaster relief. We have another client who was an internationally trained pharmacist, but now is looking at using her experience in chemistry and moving into pharmaceuticals. We have served clients who are nurses who move into helping other immigrants then through mental health counseling and para-counseling, and some who move into public health. So there's a huge range of specialties, skills, and experience that you bring into this equation, and we meet you at that place. We have really high intensity, short duration training, 5 to 6 weeks of 25 to 30 hours a week of really a lot of work, but really important work, because it takes work to make things happen. It takes work to make change happen. And we're focused, as I mentioned, on employment, but not just any employment. It is not success for us if our clients go out and get a job at Amazon or go out and get a job at Tim Hortons. We are focused on you using your skills as fully as possible within the broader healthcare sector in a position that doesn't require licensure. And we do that through a really holistic approach, where we're looking not in just one narrow avenue of supporting you, but in supporting you as fully as we can and connecting you with partners who can support you in other ways that you might need. A quick breakdown of our Healthcare Connections program is here. Both our community health stream and our health system stream have 5 weeks of full-time training, followed by a 6th week of really intensive small group and one-on-one work. We do job search support and preparation, employment counseling. We do a lot of networking, getting in front of people, getting in front of potential employers, meeting past graduates, meeting people in the community, getting out there and building that social capital and that social network. A lot of work with our employer liaisons on job referrals. And then once you secure a job, we support you through post-hire support to make sure that you not only get the job, but that you succeed in it and that you can grow in those positions. Our community health stream, as I mentioned, as you can see here on the slide, is run in partnership with Centennial College, with LAMP Community Health Center, and with the Public Services Health and Safety Association of Ontario. And our health system stream takes a different approach because we deliver that with a network of internationally trained healthcare professionals with experience in healthcare administration, pharmaceuticals, and clinical research. And we get those professionals in really, really working with you on how you can make those same kinds of transitions that they made, which is how we know the amazing Dr. Sinclair here. Our success rate really speaks for itself here. We have a 90% rate of clients who have moved into non-licensed employment in the broader healthcare sector. If we look at our overall success rate, 100% of our clients are in employment or are in training. 90% of those are in the kind of jobs that our program is designed to get them into employment in. Another, usually 6 to 7% are in jobs that are sometimes very, very good jobs, but that aren't in the healthcare sector, and we don't count those here. So for example, we just had a client start a job at Amazon, making very, very, very good salary, not the kind of Amazon job I was talking about earlier, but a very high skilled tech job. And then some of our clients decide after our program that they want to go back to school and pursue licensure full-time, right? And we support them in that decision. But we hang our hats on this 90% success rate. There's a good, strong demand in the community for this program and these kind of programmings. And it's shown by how, since January 2020, right before COVID started, we've served over 500 clients through our Healthcare Connections program. Many of those in our full cohorted programming, and others through career assessments, referrals, one-on-one counseling opportunities, and other ways that we provide support. In that same time, I looked at this number when I got this number back from my team, because it's a strange to see such a round number like that, but it backs up. We've had 100 employers hire clients from our program since January 2020, right? So many of those employers have hired multiple clients. But work with a broad range of employers there, from small kind of health clinic practices up to pharmaceutical companies and up to some of the largest hospital networks in Southern Ontario. One of the things that we do with all of those employers is we tell them, you know what, we can get a lot of people in front of you who can help you in meeting your business needs, but we also would like you to come in. We'd like you to provide some mentors, to provide guest speakers so that our participants can learn about your organizations and what it would take for them to be successful. And you can see some of the organizations that we bring in regularly to talk with our clients here, including Mount Sinai, who's a large hospital here in the GTA, Apotex Pharmaceuticals, Sun Life, an insurance company, LMC Healthcare, which is a research organization, clinical research that we work quite closely with. So we bring in a lot of different partners, a lot of employers for you to meet with, talk to, learn from. Some of our really great success stories here that we would like to point out. We've got an amazing graduate here in Hasham Abdelhadi, who is now a clinical research manager at University Health Network. I'm very proud to have seen his career journey after going through our program, where he started off working in a contract clinical research organization, moved into University Health Network which was then Toronto General Hospital, moved in as a clinical research coordinator and then was promoted to clinical research manager. And then a recent graduate of our Healthcare Connections community health stream, Deepna Agrawal here, who is now working as a health educator at York Region, really making sure that communities have the types of connections to health that they need and that they know the services that are available to them in their community. And what Deepna shared with us, which was really important to me to share with all of you, is how programs such as this bring social support. There's lots of supports that people can receive one-on-one in terms of, come in and meet with someone and go over your resume. But it's a whole different thing to be with a group of other people who have the same goal as you, similar goals as you, and to share time, to share experience, to share knowledge with them, and to build those relationships with them. And as she mentioned here, that during her time with the community health stream of Healthcare Connections, she realized she wasn't alone in this. And that's an important part of our settlement experience, knowing that there are others who have gone through what we've gone through and they were successful in doing that. And we know that when they were successful in doing that, that we can find ways in doing that as well. Some of the jobs that our recent graduates have moved into are, you can see up here, at Mount Sinai, at WSIB, which is a government insurance company, at Apotex, at dental clinics, at pharmaceutical organizations. So through our Healthcare Connections program, we're really doing quality work and getting internationally educated healthcare professionals into good non-licensed employment. I'd like to thank our funders in this work, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, and the Government of Ontario through the Ministry of Labour, Training and Skills Development. If you're in the Greater Toronto Area, you can come to any of our locations as listed here, and hopefully you have access to that later to look at it more closely. And if you want to contact us, there's a couple different ways here. If you have been approved to immigrate to Canada, but you haven't landed yet, you can access pre-arrival services at ACCESS Employment. If you're an internationally educated nurse and you've been approved to immigrate to Canada, don't get a hold of us, get a hold of Care for Nurses, because they know everything that you need to do as an organization that focuses on nurses. For anyone else in the room or any friends or family you have who are looking for help after being approved for permanent residency, but before landing, they can email us at cec@accessemployment.ca. If you're a newcomer in Canada with healthcare experience and you're looking to get into a program that can help you get a good job, you can contact us here. And for everyone else, if you are outside of Canada and you're not yet approved to immigrate, we have an enormous range of free online resources. We have regular online webinars that are open to anybody around the world. And you can get to all of those at accessemployment.ca/eaccess. So I'll leave that up there for you to reference. Thank you all for sharing your time and your attention with us today. And I look forward to having an opportunity to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Cameron. That was wonderful. A lot of information, healthcare connections, and I hope all of you notice the numbers. Those are some very impressive numbers. Over 100 employers, and these are all top-notch names. 90% success rate, a 5-week training. I hope you saw that. And also, in case you missed it, post-job career support. So even after you land a job, there is support available. I hope you noticed these. These are very impressive stats. Cameron was also kind enough to share an information that a lot of us kept asking. I am from out of Canada. I am from this country. I haven't come in yet. So that, as you can see on the slide, cec@accessemployment.ca. This is for people who are planning to migrate into the country and if you haven't landed. Having said that, let's go on to questions. If there are any questions, we are free to answer them. Okay. One of the questions, Cameron, I have for you is ACCES available in other parts of Canada? I know this is very Ontario specific, but where else would people go in other provinces to find similar services?
Yeah, so the types of services that are available on the ground in areas vary tremendously. So if you're in a major metropolitan area, you're going to have access to pretty good settlement services in Toronto, Halifax, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Edmonton, etc. If you are, just landed somewhere and you're really unsure of what you might do, feel free to give my team an email. And they'll point you to a resource where you can find somebody on the ground who can help you in that area. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Cameron. I hope it answered the question. Another question we have, Cameron, is can you provide a brief overview of what the 5-week job training program looks like? I know it was covered in the slide, but if you can reiterate. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So we spend a lot of time on self-exploration and self-definition. Right? This is a difficult thing to do because for most of our lives, especially for internationally trained doctors, nurses, pharmacists, you don't need to talk about your skills and your experience. You just say, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a pharmacist, and that sums it all up. You never have to go into depth. So we spend a lot of time saying, what does that mean? What can I do? If I know then what I can do, what do I want to do? We spend good time as a group as well, focusing on kind of the elephant in the room of if I'm going to change jobs and change career streams, this isn't easy, right? Cognitively, psychologically, this is a difficult process, right? So we need to get that into the open. We need to talk about it. And we need to focus on some strategies that we can use to navigate change in our occupations, because there's a lot of associated issues that come along with that. And then we do a lot of work on networking, getting our resume set. And it sounds really easy, but we don't focus a lot on things like, put your margin here and make sure your date lines up here. We really focus on knowing who you are as a professional and being able to communicate who you are as a professional to others. Because if you can do that very well, the resume speaks for itself, right? And then with suffuse through all of that, we use a variety of techniques. So we have in-class portions where everybody is there together. We have online learning modules that everyone takes part in. And then we mix that up with one-on-one and small group supports so that we can focus on the individual and small group needs in our training groups, because we know that not everybody needs the same thing 100% of the time.
Thank you, Cameron. And we at Canadian Immigrant can definitely endorse this. The 5-week training program, you got to be there to experience it. We speak a lot about soft skills, transferable skills, and aligning yourself to the Canadian culture, everything. Well, nothing beats being there in person with ACCES and going through the 5-week of program. Something very small, like what Ruth said about people don't even see eye to eye because it's a different culture out there in some countries, and you come to Canada. So a lot of this thing happens when you land there in person. And thank you, Cameron, for answering that. I hope we do not have any other questions. So that's a wrap up right now. Cameron, thank you so much. Thank you so much for addressing everything. That's been a wonderful session. And we thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts for attending today's session. Special thanks to Ruth, Megan, Dr. Sinclair, Salma, and of course, Cameron for joining us today and sharing their valuable skills and expertise with everyone. Remember, if you missed anything, the web conference will be posted shortly on our website. It's been recorded, like we had mentioned earlier, for you to rewatch. And if you have any questions, you can always email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. We are available to answer all your questions. And yes, it's not over yet. The live sessions are back. Yes, the Canadian Immigrant in-person fairs are back after a long hiatus. So if you're looking to attend a fair in person, they will be all over Canada in prominent cities. So find a city near you at canadianimmigrant.ca. That's canadianimmigrant.ca/career fair. And for everyone in the Toronto area and the GT area, good news. The next event is happening this month, 20 days from today on June the 23rd. And the details are already posted on canadianimmigrant.ca/career fair. So we look forward to seeing a lot of you there in person, live. And finally, in wrap up, my name is Murali Murthy. I'm a career writer at Canadian Immigrant. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm happy to connect with everyone today. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. You can connect with me personally on LinkedIn. And you can look up aceworldfoundation.com to learn more about me. So from all of us here at Canadian Immigrant, a big thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.